Happy New Year. We're back with Boy Party for 2025, and this week Shane and I are discussing Steven Soderbergh's 2011 film Contagion, starring Matt Damon, Jude Law, Marion, Cotillard, and Kate Winslet. The average person touches their face 2,000 or 3,000 times a day, 3 to 5 times every waking minute. In between, we're touching doorknobs, water fountains, elevator buttons, and each other. Those things become podcasts. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boy Party. We're back for the new year. My name is Lucien Waddaley, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, who passed every disease imaginable onto me, and vice versa. It's Shane Kelly.
We gotta stop kissing.
We gotta stop kissing.
I gotta stop kissing at the boy party.
You gotta stop making references to that in our opening jokes. We're giving the game up.
Yeah.
If you're tuning in for the first time in 2025, folks, this is Boy Party. It's a podcast about movies where 2 or more major stars shared the screen and battled it out for screen time, top billing, the fatter paycheck, and the most acclaim. Every week we discuss movies that give audiences 2 for the price of 1 on Legends of the Silver Screen and delve into dueling star personas, a bit of behind-the-scenes drama, and the ultimate quest for box office, Oscars, and cinematic dominance. And we discuss actors of all gender from week to week because girls are invited to the Boy Party and gender is a construct. We are back. Thank you so much for joining us for 2025. We were off last week. We hope you had a lovely Christmas and New Year. Ready to rev up for another fantastic year of boy parties, partying every Tuesday into your earlobes. And we're starting off this week with a great disease movie, one of the great sickness films, one for the sickos like us, Steven Soderbergh's Contagion.
Yeah, unfortunately, the CEO of Boy Party only allows us 5 days of annual leave a year.
Yes,
so we decided to take it over Christmas.
Yeah.
But we're back.
We're back. Do you think this movie would be better if the title had an exclamation point in it? Because keep in mind, Steven Soderbergh and Matt Damon's collaboration just before this was The Informant, which has one.
Yeah, from what I know, films that have an exclamation point in them have a kind of a campiness to them, which I think this does not.
No,
I'm thinking
very serious.
Moulin Rouge.
The Informant.
Mother, The
Informant.
Yeah.
What else?
Kind of.
Oh, I mean, we should have probably done this on the Moulin Rouge episode, considering
A little bit, yeah.
Airplane.
Airplane.
The Thing You Do. Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
Mars Attacks. Oliver. Oklahoma. Everybody Wants Some has 2. Safety Last. It was made by the same people who made Airplane. Die, Monster, Die. Tora, Tora, Tora. Hello, Dolly. Burn. And Win a Date with Ted Hamilton.
I feel like none of them have the same vibe as Contagion.
No, Contagion's a movie about people getting sick, dying, and society collapsing.
Yeah,
on a
like
global scale.
if you're putting an exclamation point at the end of Contagion, you might as well call it a margin call.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well do The Big Short, Moneyball, Antichrist,
Zero Dark 30,
yes. World Trade Center, Contagion. Yeah, I mean, Contagion's a disaster movie. It's honestly kind of falls into the same general basket of films as The Towering Inferno in terms of star wattage, bad thing happens, problem solving, watching sexy movie stars solving a big crisis that's killing people.
I think it's quite similar to Margin Call.
Margin Call stinks. Margin Call's a bad movie. When was the last time you watched Margin Call?
Like a year and a half ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that was the first time I watched it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I watched it so Margin Call came out the same year as Contagion. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought Margin Call was great when it came out, and then I watched it again about 3 years ago with guest friend of the show, Brendan, and we both thought it was a honk shoe sleepy time.
Sure.
The director of Margin Call currently has a film in cinemas, and I'm wondering, can you tell me what that film is?
Craven the Hunter.
Correct. Well done.
Really?
Very good. Craven the Hunter.
Ah, yes.
Well done.
Craven the Hunter exclamation point.
That is another film by that man.
That guy.
Whose name is briefly evading me. He made All Is Lost. He made Triple Frontier. And he made A Most Violent Year. And for some reason, I just cannot remember his name right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Contagion, no exclamation point, is a movie about a global pandemic and the effects it has on a number of key characters and society as a whole. Definitely doesn't resemble anything that's happened in the real world in the last 10 years. We could do a whole episode with pretending that the COVID didn't happen as a bit. Or we could just be normal and compare it to real life. Might be more interesting.
We won't get too far into it.
This movie was directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by Scott Z. Burns. It stars an ensemble led by 6 names above the title, who are listed alphabetically: Marion Cotillard, Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Winslet, and then also in the cast, very important, are Jennifer Ely, Bryan Cranston, Sana Lathan, who else is in here? Elliot Gould, and John Hawkes, Dimitri Martin. Oh, that's who that was. And that's basically everybody important who's in it.
Yeah.
Really great cast. A film that really hinges on the stars in it who kind of like keep things grounded amongst the chaos. And
you have
terror.
very, very little time to make an impact in this because you're
Yeah.
splitting 110 minutes
Yeah.
between 6 leads.
So you really need. I mean, I would say 6 leads. I would say that Gwyneth Paltrow is not a lead of this film by any means. We'll get to that in a second. I would say that Jennifer Ely is the stealth sixth lead, who is not on the poster. Mm-hmm. And they swap her on the poster for Gwyneth Paltrow because of, fascist marketing reasons, I guess. But anyway, I think that, yes, this movie is a fantastic case of using movie stars' persona and sort of archetypes to connect with the audience straight away and to communicate with the audience which characters are to be trusted and which characters are to be distrusted and so on based on your associations with these actors. Other movies that do that, I suppose, Oppenheimer. Like, I'm trying to think of movies with huge casts where the actors are utilized well. I would say stuff like Towering Inferno as well, where you're like, yes, Matt Damon's here.
Fred Astaire's here. Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Exactly. Matt Damon, good dad. Jude Law, kind of sleazy. Okay, where are we going here? Kate Winslet, brilliant bureaucrat,
Lawrence Fishburne, reliable
kind of scientist man. Yeah. So I think it utilizes these guys really well and splits its time really well between all of its key characters. And I think the best performance in the movie, I kind of think, is Jennifer Ely, but that's just, I don't know. I really like her. But yeah, so for the purposes of the boy party conversation, we're going to focus on, I think, Cotillard, Damon, Jude Law, and Kate Winslet. Gwyneth Paltrow being on this poster and being in those 6 first build actors, very silly. Like, Gwyneth Paltrow,
I feel like she has as much to do here as Marion Cotillard, a little bit.
She might be on screen as much as Marion Cotillard, but she doesn't have very much to do.
It opens with her,
and
she
dies
consistently
5 minutes in.
Refers back to her throughout the film.
It does. She dies 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
and then she is precedingly only shown in very quick flashbacks, CCTV footage,
she's in a lot of
photographs,
flashbacks,
photographs, and then at the end, a kind of a slightly, like maybe a 30-second scene at the very end where she's shown to be contracting the virus. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that she comes close to being in this movie as much as Jennifer Ely or indeed Bryan Cranston, who are the sort of 6th and 7th leads of this film.
But is it important that this character is played by Gwyneth Paltrow, given the kind of negative implication that's given to the character?
Yes, there's obviously a reason they cast someone famous in this role, because you could easily have had her and Jennifer Ely swap roles, or have any actress play this part. Yeah, it's a bit of the what is it, Drew Barrymore getting killed in the opening scene of Scream kind of thing, where it's like a fake out for the audience. But like, the funny thing is, like, Gwyneth Paltrow's face on the poster is after she dies. I think the image of her on the poster is of her dead body. Oh. No, it's of her dead body. It's of her like looking really pale, staring. I think that's honestly after she dies. Huh. So they're kind of already giving that up in the marketing. But she is, because the character is discovered to have been unfaithful to her husband. Yeah. Our relationship with that character kind of goes up and down between, feeling bad she died and then kind of resenting her and wondering, is the disease her fault in some way? And this kind of complicated relationship that he has with his wife having cheated on him and proceeded to immediately die, and also his son has been killed from picking up the disease.
He's not his son, I don't think.
You don't think he's his son?
I think he's his stepson. I think that is Gwyneth Paltrow's
that's
son.
That's her son, and that's his daughter.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, you sure?
Yeah. Because he refers to my wife and my stepson.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking there's no sense of who that boy's father would have been, unless because surely that boy's father would be. Yeah,
because the daughter's
upset
older.
That he's dead.
Unless they're married.
Unless that boy's father was the man that was John Neal, who she meets up with in Chicago, who maybe also contracts the virus and dies. I
don't know. Yeah, the timelines are a little bit weird, but I was of the understanding that was not his biological son.
Okay.
And hence
that's why he's a little bit less traumatized.
It's why he's a little bit less insane.
But he does. Sure, but he does completely, like, he breaks down and sobs at the end of the film. But I suppose...
But it was looking at pictures of
the wife. The son doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, you're right. The little child being killed does end up being kind of less of a big deal than the...
Yeah, which is weird, because I think... I'm not going to say who I'd have a more
Yeah.
strong opinion to. But generally, children dying is used as a more
of an emotional thing
more of
than
an
an adult,
emotional
yes.
feature in film.
So maybe the reason why Gwyneth Paltrow's cast there is because it needs to be a movie star the audience likes in order to make us quick feeling shock. You know, we also get to watch Gwyneth Paltrow have her face peeled off and had to have an autopsy on her brain, which is horrifying. As I said, part of the Gwyneth Paltrow's head being used as a prop universe, along with Seven, with What's in the Box.
What is in the box?
But she probably does provide a bit of a shorthand to feeling kind of like that situation is very scary and sudden and shocking, you know?
What is the... Like, Gwyneth Paltrow obviously kind of went on a bit of a tangent in her career at a certain point and stopped acting.
Sure.
And
This is kind of the last couple of years where she is considered a big movie star. And now she's
okay,
sort
so
of...
she was still kind of...
She was... this was the year after... This was between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. Like, she's still the female lead of huge blockbusters in the early 2010s. It's only in the last couple of years where she has really pivoted to just doing her kind of online stuff.
And skiing.
And
that whole story.
does not really appear in movies anymore. But the Lawrence Fishburne, very good in this.
Great.
Always good. Not going to treat him as a real movie star because I don't think he is. I think he is a character actor, unfortunately for him.
Sure.
He is an Oscar nominee for Best Lead Actor.
Mm-hmm.
What's Love Got to Do with It? 1994. It's 30 years ago.
Very good.
I don't think Lawrence Fishburne has been in many leading roles since then. He spent a number of years as a supporting character on the sitcom Blackish. That does not help his reputation as a movie star. But he's great in lots of stuff, and he is obviously a very iconic figure in media because he's in the Matrix movies, and he is the person who offers Neo the red pill and the blue pill. So anyone talks about red pill and blue pill, they're probably thinking about Lawrence Fishburne.
That's true.
And he recently provided the narration for Megalopolis, and he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So that's Lawrence Fishburne for you. But anyway, the four people I'm interested in talking about here are Damon, Winslet, Jude Law, and Marion Cotillard. We've obviously previously discussed Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, and Jude Law on this podcast. I think this movie uses them all so well. I think especially Damon, I think has maybe never been better than in this movie. I guess I forgot about the existence of Ripley, which is incredible.
Sure.
That is my favorite Matt Damon performance. But I don't know. What do you think? I think he's so good in this. I think it's like real guy who's trying to straddle practicality in the face of a disaster versus mourning.
I think you can really see the thinking going on in his character where like someone has just died, but everyone else could also die. So I need to like not freak out and endanger everyone here right now.
And the way he channels his grief into this kind of protective thing with the daughter.
Yeah.
That you never feel like he's completely lost it.
No.
He's got it under control. Even when he pulls the boyfriend off of her out in the grass and has a gun in his hand. And I don't feel...
There's never a single
instance
there where you feel like the gun is going to become relevant to the scene.
No. Like, you're not like, oh my God, what a lunatic, he's about to shoot the boyfriend.
No, not at all.
You're just like, he's got a gun there because this situation maybe does involve guns in the sense that everyone else seems to be turning violent. And it's kind of like borderline zombie movie at this point. And I'm like, yeah, I get why he's behaving this way. But the boyfriend's being stupid.
You can really see that he was holding the entire thing in the entire time because once the vaccine arrives and everyone is safe, then he just cracks and disintegrates.
And then at the final kind of the second last scene of the film, which I really love, is the daughter's prom night has come up, but obviously prom's been cancelled. And he finally lets the boyfriend come over. I guess the boyfriend's been vaccinated. The daughter hasn't. Yeah. So he has a pretty practical approach.
And he's under the impression that his daughter probably can't get sick because he's immune to the virus.
Him and the daughter both seem to be immune because they were in close contact with the mother and the son.
She's been fine. Yeah.
But he like is in the house looking at the photos of his dead wife on the camera, and he's crying. And then the U2 song starts playing, and the boyfriend comes over, and him and the daughter are dancing, and Matt Damon's standing and watching. And it's the first time he smiles in the entire movie. Oh, I think it's beautiful. I think it's such a lovely ending. And the movie has been so like clinical and technical and like crazy synth music and diseasey stuff the whole time, and then it ends just has this like American family human moment, and Damon plays that so well.
It did feel a little bit like the ending of like an episode of 911 or something.
Yes, of course.
But I was like, oh, okay.
But Damon does that shit so well. Like, I don't think anyone else is gonna play that
like
scene
I think his best scene is when the doctor comes out to tell him his wife has died.
Oh my God, incredible scene.
The doctor is kind of doing an incredible thing here as well.
He's great.
He's so off-putting, but also he's doing exactly as he should be, where you're like, you want to tell the doctor to fuck off.
Yes. So the doctor is like, so unfortunately, your wife did get a lot worse, and
she died.
She did die. He says she did die, and Damon is like completely oblivious, and he's like, okay, so can I see her? And the doctor's like, well, she's dead.
Yeah.
And then Damon is like, what happened to her? What happened to her?
Well, she did die.
She did die.
It's a weird way to phrase it, as if
Insane way
there's
to say it.
more
Yeah.
coming.
Exactly. She
There's
did die, but,
Yeah,
you know, because there is no but to telling someone
not,
that news.
no.
Oh my God, it's a great scene. And Damon is so good in that, and the way he reacts
And the
to that
doctor
is
has been
brilliant.
overly practical. He's listing diseases. It could have been this, could have been this.
Yes.
And he's like not taking any of it in.
Yeah. Damon only really then shares scenes with peripheral characters, apart from this one scene where Kate Winslet shows up to interrogate him.
Do they?
You probably didn't even realize it was her because she was wearing a mask. Kate Winslet goes into the hospital room and interviews him about John Neal.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
That's her. Yeah.
So that's the only.
No, I remember that.
That's the only time he's really in a scene with any of the other leads.
Yeah.
And because Kate Winslet basically is like Mrs. Detective on the case of where the disease started.
Yeah.
So she's kind of investigating on the U.S. side, and then I guess Marion Cotillard is kind of over in
She's
Hong Kong trying to
she
figure
works
it out.
for the WHO.
But whereas Kate Winslet works for the CDC.
CDC,
So
yeah.
she's the American side of it. So she's trying to figure out where the disease started. So she basically rocks up to Matt Damon's town in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And is like, yo, your wife was maybe visiting a gentleman lover in Chicago. And Matt Damon is like, is John Neal sick? And she's like, I'm not going to tell you. And then she proceeds to, back to Damon for a sec. Other Damon performances I love, just to rank this highly, we got him in Contagion, Talented Mr. Ripley, Oppenheimer, Interstellar, The Last Duel, I know you haven't seen, The Departed, the Ocean's movies, Margaret. I don't know. What's your favorite Damon performance? It's kind of between those ones, I feel like.
Yeah, he's great in this.
He is great in this. Ripley's sort of like, I feel like a very influential, like...
It's him and Jude Law again, yeah.
Yeah, good point. Him and
fun
Jude Law
pair.
again. Didn't even think of that. And Gwyneth.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
He's,
Very good. These guys love each other.
yeah, this is like pre-pandemic and post-pandemic
Yeah,
world.
exactly.
We all live in Italy and it's all pretty.
Exactly. Well, anyway.
He's great in Ripley. Ripley's an odd one because he's
He's
kind
never
of
done that again. Like,
a little freaky in it.
yeah, he's never been that. He's never played that character since.
No, he really hasn't.
And he should play that character as an older guy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the Winslet character, she basically ends up going to set up a kind of a quarantine zone inside a big venue, whatever.
It's a big sports hall.
And then she herself ends up getting sick in what is the most fucking terrifying portion of the film, I think. I find this so scary. It's the most like tangible to me of like realizing you're sick and getting freaked out.
And there's a little bit of like, oh, she's the big star in this. Nothing you don't expect it.
You think that once Gwyneth has died, the other 5 famous people are safe.
Yeah.
Except maybe Jude Law, who you want to see die because he's slimy. But like you're like, okay, Winslet and Damon are fine. And she just basically wakes up coughing one day in her hotel, and you're like, "Oh, fuck!"
And because you have 6 leads in this, you don't need to fulfill all their arcs throughout the entirety of the film. You can have Kate Winslet die halfway through, and
Yes,
kind of
you have enough material to keep going.
yeah.
So like they do it, and they do it so well. And I think the scene where she finds that she's sick is so scary. She basically rings up Larry Fish and
She
is
wakes
like,
up in the middle of the night.
yeah, she's like, I think I'm sick. And he's like, I'm going to send someone to get you. He basically goes and tries to negotiate with Bryan Cranston to get a helicopter sent or a plane sent to pick her up. And Bryan Cranston tells him that they are now using that plane to rescue a U.S. congressman.
Yeah.
And as a result, no one's going to go pick her up. Yeah. So she basically lies in a bed in this quarantine sports hall, gives this guy who's like shivering and asking for a blanket, and a nun tells him, the scene is so upsetting. The nun tells him there's no blankets left.
We're waiting for donations.
Yeah, Winslet passes him a blanket.
A jacket.
Her jacket, and then hard cut to her, dead body, shrink wrapped in a makeshift body bag.
They basically took a shopping bag, put it over her head,
Oh my God.
sellotape and duct tape
my
around the
God.
neck to keep it on her head.
Like Laura Palmer in fucking Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And then she gets thrown into a mass grave, and someone, like one of these fucking hazmat dudes, like has a bunch of flowers in his hand and is like, well, we ran out of body bags. We're getting more from Canada. And the way that one of the biggest stars in the movie is just
disposed
of in 30 seconds into a mass grave as a sort of reflection of how these people who die during pandemics
completely unforgiving.
End up being disposed of. Absolutely staggering scene.
Yeah.
I think the way that the and also the last moment of her passing the coat to your man is like so heroic and noble. Yeah. Like she's such a
we
noble
don't even
character.
see him pick it up. I don't think. I think it's just on the ground.
Yeah, she's just such a. Because everyone's on death's door.
Yeah,
everyone in that room is gonna die. This pandemic has like a really high mortality rate.
Yeah.
Like most people are dying. Oh, she's a great character. I think it's a great performance by Kate Winslet. Love her in this. She, of course, we talked about her previously in our Carnage episode. I'm trying to think of where this fits into her career. Her Oscar win is obviously 2 or 3 years before this for The Reader, a film I have not seen. I must watch it because I am a big Winslet head. I know The Reader is meant to be terrible, but I do like to see the Oscar-winning performances of actors I like.
She is on the top actors of 2000s.
She was on that list. The Independent did this list of the best film actors of the 21st century so far. I don't know how highly ranked she was on it, but yeah, I think she was.
Is she the only one in this film that's on that list?
That's a really good question. Would Marion Cotillard
I don't think she made it.
Or Jude Law have made that list? I doubt it.
No.
Matt Damon didn't make that list.
Matt Damon didn't make that list.
Yeah, that's a shame. Oh, I'm just realizing this is the exact same year that Kate Winslet is in Carnage. So these are the same Oscar season. There's not a whole lot we can say about it then. I like her when she plays these types of characters, and when she's American. I think I always prefer her when she's American. She's very good in Mayor of Easttown, if anyone hasn't checked that out, HBO show from a couple years ago, where she plays a detective in a small town in, I'm going to say,
Easttown?
It's somewhere in New England. She's got a regional accent, and she's very good in it. And she's like a teen basketball sensation who's now a washed-up alcoholic private investigator.
Okay.
Or she's not a private investigator. She's a cop. It's a really good show. Her and Guy Pearce and Julianne Nicholson. Anyway, I got nothing else to say about Kate Winslet today, but that's a great movie star, and this year she's probably going to get an Oscar nomination for Lee, which is a film no one has seen that was released in Ireland by Sky.
Sorry, it already came out.
Yeah, it came out like 3 months ago. Released in the UK and Ireland by Sky.
Damn.
And she is going to get that nomination through Hustle.
Gotta catch up on that.
Hustle and popularity within the industry. And then after that, she has another movie coming out in 2025. Do you know what that movie is? It's a big one.
Craven the Hunter 2?
Avatar, Fire and Ash.
Oh.
In which she will return as Ronal. Big time for Kate.
Nice.
Then we have Marion Cotillard, who is the only person here we haven't discussed before on the podcast. Marion Cotillard, of course, a native of France, a person I'm fascinated by the movie star arc of. She kind of pops up in bits and pieces in the early 2000s. She sort of breaks out in France late 90s, and then she kind of starts popping up. She's in Very Long Engagement. She wins the César for Best Supporting Actress 2004, and then she's in this Ridley Scott movie, A Good Year, with Russell Crowe, which is her big American breakout role. She plays the female lead in that. That is a wine-drinking romantic drama, the most un-Ridley Scott movie Ridley Scott has ever made. It's her and Russell Crowe. And that is the year before she gets her first Oscar nomination and her first Oscar win for the Edith Piaf biopic, La Vie en Rose, a film I have never, ever seen. I don't know what it would take for me to watch La Vie en Rose, probably lobotomy, but it is Marion Cotillard singing the songs of Edith Piaf.
Honestly, all it should have taken is the fact that we're doing her as the primary focus of this episode.
You'd think if we were doing that, I might have checked out her Oscar-winning role, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I don't think I like her quite enough to watch an Edith Piaf biopic that I'm assuming is probably 3 hours long. That film was... wait, does that film have a different title in France? Oh my God, that film had a different name in France to in Europe, and that's so funny. So in France, that movie was called La Môme, and in UK and America, it was called La Vie en Rose. That's so funny. And when she won the Oscar, they definitely said she was winning for La Vie en Rose. Well, anyway, I didn't know who Marion Cotillard was until she was up on that stage winning her Oscar, and I really remember having to be like, who is this and what is this? My parents being like, I don't know, some French lady who played Edith Piaf. But, fair play to her. I'm glad they let her play Edith Piaf and didn't cast like Michelle Williams or something. It's good that an authentic French person was cast in that film. Representation matters.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good top end range of films that she appears in.
She's probably the only foreign language performance to win Best Actress this century, right? I can't think of anyone like Justine or Sandra Hüller came close, but
it was Parasite.
I really think she's like the only for lead, because the actress from Minari won supporting, and God, yeah, Michelle Yeoh kind of speaks a bit of Mandarin in Everything Everywhere, but that's an English language film.
Nothing from Roma. Was that actress nominated?
She was nominated, yeah. Dujardin wins for lead actor, but yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah. But anyway, they had a little moment there with the French, didn't they? But anyway, when you win the Oscar for Best Actress, you get cast in lots of big movies. So Marion Cotillard ends up having a weird little run there where she's just in loads of big things. So immediately after winning the Oscar, she gets cast in... she was the first Best Actress winner for a foreign language performance since 1961.
Good Lord.
Sophia Loren. There you go. And she's the only winner of an Oscar for a French language performance. Interesting, because they're not counting Jean Dujardin because that's a silent film.
Oh, and the artist?
Yeah, they're not counting because it's not a French language because it's a silent. Interesting. Well, anyway, so the first big American movie she has 2 years later is Public Enemies. Yeah. Which is a really boring film that I don't like. Have you seen Public Enemies?
I have seen it.
Do you remember
I watched it probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I was bored by it, I think.
Yeah, it's boring. There's a few faces in that. Crudup is in it. Sure. Bale is in it.
These were people who I didn't really care for at the time, which now I probably get a bit more of enjoyment out of it.
But it's a lot of... It is a Tommy gun movie. It is a movie of people walking down the street going... robbing banks. It's so boring. Michael Mann knows how to make them boring when he tries, as we've discussed on Collateral episode. She then later that year appears in the movie 9, which I've been meaning to watch for the last couple of years. This is Rob Marshall's 8.5 sequel. This is a musical starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Fergie, Penelope Cruz, Marion Cotillard, Judi Dench, Kate Hudson, Nicole Kidman, and Sophia Loren. A fascinating cast. Meant to be terrible. I'm sure it is. 9. I am eager to check it out, merely to see Daniel Day-Lewis sing and play a role that was intended for Javier Bardem and is meant to be in Italian. But she's in that. And then she is in... What is she in then?
From the director of The Little Mermaid.
Then we're into 2010. And she's in Inception.
Yep.
And I think that everything worked out very nicely that she ended up in Inception. Because I think she's like the perfect weird actress to play the wife in that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that movie would work as well if the actress playing the wife wasn't like a weird European with a funny accent who kind of seems like someone who only exists in dreams.
Because it adds to a weird hysteria around the whole thing where like you're kind of having a nightmare.
Yes.
And like if you just have kind of nice not bland,
but if it was Gwyneth Paltrow or if it was, Nolan lead women, Emily Blunt.
Yeah, like Marion Cotillard does a kind of thing where it's like half a woman you see in your nightmare, then wake up and you're like, I'm confused by her.
Yes.
Which is great. It's a great skill to have.
She's like a very intense French woman. And that is the kind of person that would drive Leo DiCaprio, especially mad. Him specifically, I feel like. Yeah. Like she feels like an appropriate dead wife for that character and for him as an actor.
Is there a wife in Shutter Island?
Well,
maybe that's
I haven't seen Shutter Island. Michelle Williams is in Shutter Island.
Oh, it could be her. So
maybe it's her. But I think Cotillard is great in Inception. And like what does she do in that movie? She like hangs off the balcony a bit.
I'm going to kill myself.
She jumps in front of the train. She ends up at the end, I guess, kind of being the villain, right?
She kills the children.
She kills the children.
Yeah.
He gets to purgatory at the end, and she's waiting for him there, and she's like, yo, I'm not letting you out of here, right?
Yeah.
Like she's for the last like 20 minutes of Inception, she's basically the antagonist.
The devil,
and she's great. And I'm like, I think he's lucky that she got big that exact moment, and he got her in it. Cast of Inception is so funny because it's like he would have cast completely different people in that 2 years earlier or 2 years later.
Was there an impression of Marion at the time that it was kind of a silly performance in Inception?
I think there is still that impression. I mean, DiCaprio said...
I think it needs it, like...
Yeah, DiCaprio praised Cotillard, saying she can be strong and vulnerable and hopeful and heartbreaking all in the same moment, which was perfect for all the contradictions of her character.
Correct.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think people still think that's a bit of a silly performance.
Because, it's the character is
Nolan ridiculous. Yeah, the character is like, I'm going to jump off of the window, save me. Like, it's a silly character. Then, in 2011, she's in... Midnight in Paris, Woody Allen's movie, as Pablo Picasso's mistress, Adriana, who has a romance with Owen Wilson's character, and she's pretty fun in that. Then she's in Contagion. She tops the list of Le Figaro's list of the highest paid French actors of 2010, the first time in 9 years that a woman had topped the list. So she's obviously getting money there.
Nice.
For some of those movies. And she then, in 2012, is back with Nolan in The Dark Knight Rises. This is the point at which I would argue that she does get too silly and that her casting does not make sense. That is a badly written character. That is the worst part of The Dark Knight Rises. And Marion Cotillard's vibe is totally off the rest of that movie.
I think so.
That film is
it's a silly film.
That's a very silly film.
But it's still a silly film where everyone is playing the role straight.
Tom Hardy and Anne Hathaway, both phenomenal in that movie because they are towing the line between silliness and they're doing the same kind of performance that Heath Ledger was doing.
Yeah.
Which is like half comedy, half horror.
Yeah.
And like perfectly, but hitting that middle note where you're like, well, Bane is incredibly ridiculous, but I'm also kind of terrified of him. And
he also speaks kind of normal, apart from the voice, he speaks in normal.
Saying is kind of normal.
He speaks in normal sentences.
And then Hathaway is basically a character out of The Devil Wears Prada, or whatever. Like she's doing a romantic comedy performance, but in an action heroine, context. Yeah. I think they're both great in it. And Cotillard shows up and she's like, "Oh, Bruce, I am a mysterious woman," and then she ends up being like the secret.
She's not a real person.
No, she's
the others are real people.
The others are real people. She's like the daughter of Liam Neeson, and then at the end she just ends up like dying and like. I think she have a gun at one point. I think she like has a little pistol at one point. She gets stabbed and then she ends up like bleeding out on like with on the side of the road or something.
Yeah, it's like a misinterpreted idea of the silliness that exists.
I don't think she saw the previous Batman films. That's the thing. I don't think she understood the notes that they had hit with The Dark Knight. So she just kind of rocked up and did her Inception thing again, which is not what The Dark Knight Rises needs.
No.
I don't know.
It's you, yeah.
I think she's the worst part of it. Anyway, the year after that, she is in a French movie called Rust and Bone, directed by Emilia Perez, director Jacques Audiard. And this is a film where she plays a woman who is like a whale or a shark or no, she's like a whale trainer at SeaWorld who gets her arm bitten off. Yes. And that's basically the plot of that film. She gets a lot of awards attention for that.
Very good.
Did not get an Oscar nomination. And then there's a lot of weird stuff after that. So she is in this. She's in a Bowie video. She's in the Bowie's Next Day video with Gary Oldman. She's in James Gray's movie The Immigrant with Joaquin and Jeremy Renner, which is sort of like another version of The Brutalist that just no one has seen.
Yeah,
and it's a similar kind of like period epic with 3 big stars. Kind of a fun boy party movie if we ever wanted to like lose all of our listeners because it's Cotillard first build, Joaquin second, Renner third. It's kind of fun. I mean, she's actually in so much funny stuff now that I think of it. Something that I must call out that Brendan will be mad if I don't is the ad she's in where she sings "Team by Lord."
Yeah,
while she runs around on the moon. And Brendan might have sent in a voice note of him singing it by now. We'll see. But that's great. I love her in that. She's actually she's in so much good stuff now that I think about it. She is. I want to stay consistent with the timeline. She's in Anchorman 2. Which is weird. She's like French news team shows up.
Just kind of cameo more so, yeah.
She's in the Macbeth movie that Justin Kurzel did with Fassbender. She's Lady Macbeth in that. Makes a lot of sense as Lady Macbeth. She's in this movie Allied, Robert Zemeckis' World War II film, which is Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. And I mean, that's a good boy party of a poster. It's Brad Pitt, Marion Cotillard, Allied. Yeah. Like, everyone's treating her like a massive movie star. I see no evidence from any of these that she was actually a box office draw outside of France. But, all respect to her that she got her checks while she could. She then reunites with Kurzel and Fassbender for Assassin's Creed, in which she is the female lead. And now we're into like a lot of like, here's a bit of a French thing, voicing a bird in Doolittle. She is fantastic in Léos Carax's Annette with Adam Driver, where she plays the wife in that, who is an opera singer who drowns quite early in the film. It's a spoiler, but she's in the first half of it and she plays kind of a crazy opera singer and nightmare wife and all this. Yeah. She's great. I think that's the last thing I've seen her in. But she's about to be in season 4, of Apple TV's The Morning Show, where she is playing a character called Céline Dumont, who I can only imagine is going to be some like eccentric French businesswoman who buys the TV channel.
I think she's going to fit that. It's going to be
so good. I can't wait to see her facing off with Billy Crudup and Jennifer Aniston. Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
The Public Enemies.
Public Enemies reunion. Exactly. It's going to be brilliant.
That'll be great.
So I think that's the first time in many years that I've heard Marion Cotillard was going to be in something and been like, yes, brilliant. Nice. So she's about to. But important thing to note about her is apparently she's a 9/11 truther of some kind. I don't know much about it. This is something people joke about on the internet a lot, but I have no detailed knowledge.
I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt on this.
Sure. I think when it's a famous French actor, you can't really worry too much about their politics because they're either going to be terrible or kind of terrible. So anyway, the other person in this is Jude Law. Jude Law plays a InfoWars-esque online blogger conspiracy theory guy who flogs. What's the thing he's selling?
Forsyth?
For
Cynthia?
For Cynthia.
For Cynthia.
Which is a...
Echinacea.
No, it's not. Don't talk shit about my precious Echinacea.
You can buy it in a little jar in Evergreen.
It's like the shit that Trump was trying to get people to drink.
In Holland and Barrett's.
I'm a person who's very open to
it comes in
homeopathy and alternative medicine.
It comes in a little vial that you get in Evergreen, and you put it into your water, and it's kind of brown. You mix it in, you drink it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Well, look, what this film demonstrates with this character is that even the guys who are anti-establishment are the ones profiting from the establishment because Jude Law has had secret meetings with venture capitalists guys, right? Like,
yeah, basically saying they want to know what should we invest in based on the prevailing medical advice.
So he's in business with profiteering scumbag money men. So he's no better than the pharmaceutical companies that he attacks. And, some of the stuff he says about pharmaceutical companies' behaviors during a pandemic in this film are true within this film and in real life, that pharmaceutical companies profit enormously from the cures to diseases, which is true. Of course, pharmaceutical companies are not necessarily causing said diseases. Jude Law's character in this film frames it as though they are, but ultimately Jude Law's character in this film is himself an agent of profit and of manipulation, and he is a pretty evil, nasty character. I
think what
he's doing an Australian accent and he has fake teeth.
Yeah,
that
very
helps.
Funny. I think what the real pandemic recently showed is that this character exists outside of the profit motivation. That's like an additional bit they tacked on, maybe for just kind of moral clarity around whether this man should be taken seriously or not.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
nobody can defend that side of it.
No, not at all. I think in general, he shouldn't be seen as a reputable source.
He's not. And Lawrence Fishburne, who is the reputable source, goes on TV and is forced to debate Jude Law by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, which is
very odd.
Really odd. And Jude Law is like, you're a fucking, I can't do Australian accent, you're a fucking shill of the big pharma, bro. And Lawrence Fishburne is like, well, there is no evidence to back up anything you're saying. And Jude Law is like, you just people go out in the streets, this man. And then he has her good, he's got a gotcha, which is that Fishburne told his buddies about the lockdown before the public knew.
No, I think what happened...
And they put up on Facebook.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a thing where he informed Kate Winslet to get the man off the bus or something in Chicago.
No,
Is that not it?
No, I don't think so. It was to do with giving a heads up for the lockdown before they locked down the stage.
Right.
So Jude Law's like, it's there. Look up Facebook. And Lawrence Fishburne's like, I don't know what they're saying about me on Facebook. So it is a couple moments there where you're like, Lawrence Fishburne has twisted things a little bit to suit himself. But I think it's at the end of the film, you see that Lawrence Fishburne's, the cleaner in his office, who has asked him for help at the start of the film, Lawrence Fishburne gets him and his son a little bit of maybe a skip the queue on the vaccine in a way that is presented as ethical and nice and compassionate. And you're kind of like, okay, Lawrence Fishburne only bends the rules within what is reasonable to help people less fortunate.
Yeah.
Similarly, you have a situation where Marion Cotillard's character goes to Hong Kong and she gets kidnapped and basically is teaching kids for a while she's kidnapped, and she is being blackmailed for she's being used as leverage for advanced vaccines. Yep. And then the fucking guys from the CDC or from the WHO give these people in Hong Kong fake vaccines, which is incredibly unethical because those people now think they're immunized and they're not. And then Marion Cotillard basically runs out of the airport to go and warn them.
Yeah, because she was treated fine by them. She wasn't really being held hostage.
And she kind of gets what they were up to there.
Because they were kind of ground zero people. They were dying at a higher rate.
Yeah, exactly. And they were being treated really badly by the international health community. So Marion Cotillard's character's last scene, again, is a very heroic scene of her kind of running away to go tell them that. And that's the last we see of her. So there's a couple of strong characters there. Anyway, the film ends with the vaccine being widely distributed and the pandemic ends.
Oh, and then we have the final...
And then we get a flashback to how it started.
Yeah.
Which is people going into the rainforests, cutting down trees, the bats being dislocated,
Yep.
the bats ending up flying into a shed with sheep, shitting, the sheep eating the bat shit.
No, it's the bats
it?
eat the banana.
Oh, the bats eat the
banana is like in the bat's mouth, and he drops the banana, and the pig eats the banana.
Right. And then the pig gets killed, presented on a plate to Gwyneth Paltrow at the casino.
No, sorry, what happened is the chef puts his hand in the dead pig's mouth.
Yes.
Goes like, oh no, just wipes on his shirt, goes out, shakes Gwyneth Paltrow's
hand. And that's how the disease starts.
Yeah.
And you know what? The message of the movie is, it's all our fault.
Yeah.
Stop cutting down rainforests, stop killing pigs to eat them, and wash your god fucking damn hands.
Wash your hands.
There you go. Contagion. Anything else to say about it?
Is the bats thing very common? Because this is kind of almost exactly what happened with COVID.
I don't think that COVID has ever been proven to be bats.
Has it not?
I think that the bats theory is
has
based
come
on
from
people watching the film.
Okay, maybe it has. I thought it was holding bats into a food market in Wuhan or whatever.
People genuinely are basing that theory off of watching that film. I think most reasonable people think that COVID started in a lab.
Do they?
Yes. That is a widely accepted.
I thought that was a hoax to blame it on the Chinese.
No, it's not necessarily a Chinese lab. It started in a lab.
I gotta look into that.
I don't know. Look into it. Steven Soderbergh. Steven Soderbergh is not a director I like very much. I think he makes a lot of really, really mediocre films.
That's because he makes 2 films a year for the last 30 years.
2 or 3 films a year. I mean, God, this is 2011 Contagion, Haywire, 2012 Magic Mike, 2013 Side Effects, Behind the Candelabra. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies in less than 3 years. And only one of them is good. Side Effects is an interesting one because Side Effects brings back Jude Law, and it's another like pharmaceutical conspiracy thriller. Also written by Scott C. Burns. Kind of a spiritual sequel to Contagion. Nowhere near as good, but it's okay. I think this is really my only Steven Soderbergh movie that I really like. I think he's made a lot of like 2-star and 3-star films. The Ocean's trilogy, Side Effects, Behind the Candelabra, those are all fine. I'm really not a fan of Aaron Brockovich, Logan Lucky, No Sudden Move, The Laundromat.
Did he make Aaron Brockovich?
Yeah, I know you like Logan Lucky, but
it was fine.
I think he's made a lot of pretty boring stuff.
Just Adam Driver and Daniel Craig doing silly voices. I'm like, all right.
And now when he brings out his like new, I shot this on an iPhone shit, I'm like, I really don't care. I'm not interested. So he had a movie come out about 2 months ago called Presence that nobody saw, and he has a new movie coming out in 2 months called Black Bag with Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett, and Pierce Brosnan. So. The man works.
Oh, is this the Mr. or Mrs. Smith type?
Yeah. The man works a lot. And frankly, one of my favorite things he's ever done is the 2021 Oscars, which he produced, or I guess he directed, which was a lot of fun. The one in the train station during COVID. Anyway, this movie opens September 9th, 2011, 2 days after my 14th birthday.
Yeah.
It had premiered in Venice the week before. And Shane, do you have the box office there for me?
I do not. Of course I don't.
Okay, well, while you're looking it up, I'm going to say that the music for this film was composed by Cliff Martinez, who I think did a fabulous job. He did the score for Drive. Martinez was known as a drummer with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's where he comes from. That's interesting.
Huh.
I didn't know that. In 2012, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who are we talking about? The composer of the film, Cliff Martinez.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Very good.
But anyway, this movie cost $60 million and grossed 136.5.
Looks good. Seems to be a lot of location stuff.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. Yeah. And every time there's a montage, there's so much footage. He just has like constant new shot setups that he shows for 2 seconds before moving on to the next thing. There must be a million setups in this movie. It's incredible. Yeah. There's just so much footage, so many angles on things. It's great.
All right.
You got your box office?
Officina.
Fantastic. Where does this open?
Does it open number 1, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It did.
Open number 1.
Number 1.
22 million.
It was a hit.
Yeah.
God, it was great. So they did like a proper wide release.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers put this out. Okay.
This went out on 3,200 screens.
Yeah, okay. So a big release. Okay, great.
22 million. Did well.
Cool.
Number 2, a Disney film, not animated.
Okay.
But you definitely have a review here. Let me see.
I've definitely seen it. So we're talking September 20.
I'm never more in awe of women than when I'm watching this. The finest cast of actresses assembled this century.
Oh, The Help.
The Help.
Well, that's a bit of exaggeration. I'm never more in awe of women than when I'm watching this. When did I write that? Please tell me like 2014.
Watched 25th of January 2012.
Yeah, so I would have gone back and logged it from when I first saw it.
Yeah, okay. I don't know when you logged it. But
Right, that hopefully many years ago, because that was
the
a
finest
cringe
cast
review.
of actresses assembled this century. It's a richly saccharine and sentimental, but profoundly moving empowerment tale.
I don't think The Help is the finest cast of actresses assembled this century. It is good though. Viola Davis, Emma Stone, Alison
you listed them
Janney,
one by one.
Bryce Dallas Howard, Jessica Chastain, Sissy Spacek.
And you said it went Sissy Spacek, full stop. Extraordinary women.
Full stop. That was so embarrassing.
Kay Taylor, a white man, directs with a light touch that prevents the film from ever feeling overwrought or jarringly eager. Maybe why a white man, falls for its indulgences.
Fuck, when did I write that?
Thomas Newman's score is heartbreaking.
Yeah, Thomas Newman's score rips. It's a good film. I like The Help, but Thomas Newman's score is the best part. All right, that's number 2. Yeah, The Help was a huge
sorry for outing you like that.
The Help and Contagion have actually very similar yellow posters. Anyway.
Sorry, yeah, Contagion even nailed the COVID yellow that you're always talking about.
We should talk about the poster right now, I suppose.
We'll talk about the poster.
So they use the COVID yellow, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
The big, massive tagline, "Nothing spreads like fear."
Good.
It's fine.
Good tagline.
It's fine, but it could be the World War Z tagline.
Sure.
But yeah, it uses the yellow, it's a contamination color scheme.
Yeah, hazard.
And
whatever.
the 6 pictures of the actors are just kind of thrown on there in a little collage, which I don't think is that great. They could have done something more creative there. I feel like there should be a version of this poster that is a giant contamination logo with the actors' faces like inside the logo.
Yeah.
That probably does exist. It's not the one I'm looking at right now. Anyway, continue.
The next film, this could be about Irish guys,
Okay.
but I'm unsure.
Could be about
because
Irish guys.
the family, which the 4 leads are all a member of, all have the surname Conlon.
Okay.
Brendan Conlon, Tommy Conlon, Paddy Conlon, and Tess Conlon.
Oh, this isn't the Robert De Niro one?
No.
Interesting. Paddy Conlon. All right. Have I seen it?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna need a bit of help here. Give me those actors in reverse order, maybe.
Jennifer Morrison.
Okay.
Nick Nolte. They seem to be playing parents.
This Warrior.
This is Warrior.
Yes, this is the Tom Hardy MMA movie. Never seen it. People love that. Directed by Gavin O'Connor.
Yep.
The accountant.
GOC himself.
The accountant director. People love that. There was a big push for Nolte to get. I think he did get nominated. It was a big push for Nolte to get a supporting actor nomination. Big early Tom Hardy movie. That's a movie that that's kind of like American History X, where there's just men who will tell you that's their favorite film, and you're like, okay, I guess that's a valid answer.
Yeah.
It's Hardy and Joel Edgerton.
Yep.
I have no desire to see it. I'd say they are Irish. I'd say they're like Irish American in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a couple of fun names in here in this. Cool. Seems to be a lead pairing of Helen Mirren and Tom Wilkinson.
The 100-Foot Journey.
Nope.
No. The Debt.
The Debt. That
is Helen Mirren. It's an Israeli-themed thriller where Helen Mirren, I think, and Tom Wilkinson play the older versions of the characters, and the younger versions are played by Jessica Chastain. And...
Yeah, ex-Mossad tries to capture a notorious Nazi war criminal.
All right, okay. And who's the younger man in it? Sam Worthington plays young Tom Wilkinson.
I don't know if you said this name already, but there's a fun Irish connection here.
No, I didn't, but I know there is someone Irish in this.
Kieran Hines.
Kieran Hines is in it. Very good.
I wonder if
name another young man who's in it. I think
Sam Worthington, Martin Cossacks?
No, Sam Worthington, plays the younger version of Kieran Hines in that.
He does.
Which is very weird.
Yeah.
The crazy casting.
Martin Cossacks plays young Tom Wilkinson.
All right, okay, there you go. And Chastain plays young Helen Mirren.
Surely young Sam Worthington is a better young Tom Wilkinson. Anyway.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought. That's insane. All right, there you go. Sam Worthington with his profoundly Australian face. Makes no sense. All right.
You could have played the Jude Law.
The Debt. Yeah.
All right, here's a film.
I mean, my biggest takeaway from this is that they were making movies for adults in 2011.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here for little babies.
All right. This is Zoe Saldana.
This lead. Movie, okay. So I struggle with the name of this one, but it's called Colombiana.
Dead on.
It's Zoe Saldana, hit woman.
Cliff Curtis,
sexy lady with a gun movie. I have no desire to ever watch that. Forgotten to time.
Sure.
Anytime Zoe Saldana comes up on a name the movie puzzle, I always give that as an answer because it's always 2%.
Okay. Yeah. Next one has a bit of a Dublin Zoo vibe to it.
Oh Jesus! So Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
So I think there's a scene in Contagion that's shot in the same location that's used in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Think so, yeah.
That is another movie about a disease spreading. They're kind of similar.
Is
Rise of the Planet
where
of the
the
Apes.
monkeys were? There's a monkey scene in Contagion.
Yes, there is. But Rise of the Planet of the Apes, there's a virus that spreads. And the movie ends with basically everybody getting sick and dying. And then the second one, it's like post-apocalyptic.
Is this the first Ape?
This is the one we watched about a year ago. Yeah. This is the one in San Francisco. It ends with basically like a virus spreading through America.
Oh.
And then the sequel is like everyone's dead except a couple of factions of people, and now the world's run by monkeys. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Rupert Wyatt, good film.
Yeah.
James Franco, John Lithgow, yeah.
I don't really feel like talking about the rest of the films on the list, but I'm going to call them out anyway, up to 10. Shark Night 3D.
Shark Night 3D.
Shark Night 3D.
Fun title.
Apollo 18.
Yeah. Is Fright Night in here?
It goes R-rated brother, Spy Kids, all the time in the world.
Starring Joel McHale, yeah.
Crazy Stupid Love.
40X, yeah.
Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Kevin Hart, Laugh at My Pain.
Oh, Jesus.
Smurfs,
yeah.
Bucky Larson, Born to Be a Star, Harry Potter, Captain America, Cowboys, Aliens.
Okay. So Friday Night hadn't come out yet.
No.
Friday Night was probably the week after. All right.
The Guard is in there.
Yes, very good.
Mm-hmm.
2011 is a really good year for movies, and Contagion is one of the best.
It is
one of the best. Thank you.
Did it have any Oscar?
Oh yeah,
hype?
No.
No, really?
I don't think it got. Maybe it got one nomination. I'd be surprised. Let me have a look.
No best supporting actor for anyone in there.
No. So personally, I would nominate Matt Damon for best supporting actor, and I would nominate Jennifer Ehle for best supporting actress. No, there was no awards attention for this movie whatsoever.
Unfortunate.
In February 2021, British Health Secretary Matt Hancock revealed that watching the scramble for vaccines in Contagion inspired him to order a much larger quantity of COVID vaccines for the UK than his advisors recommended, accelerating the UK's eventual rollout of its vaccination program ahead of other European countries. In December 2020, Soderbergh said a philosophical sequel for the film was in the works. Interesting. I don't really know what that would be.
Not really.
I would say Side Effects was a philosophical sequel to Contagion.
Did he make Side Effects?
He did, yeah. Same him and the same writer.
Yeah, I'm glad Contagion is the essential policy framework now for your
it is also the
pandemics.
worst. It is the worst case scenario for what something like this would look like. I mean, it's so practical compared to zombie movies, or it's so like realistic. But then what COVID ended up being was sort of 60% as bad as the Contagion, maybe less.
Oh, I think about
30% as bad. Like, I mean, in terms of the death rate, way less. But I just mean in terms of the effect on society, I would say like maybe 30-40% as bad.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Like the way that Damon's daughter is inside and stuck inside in this movie is exactly the same as COVID.
Yeah. Like shops didn't get ransacked.
But shops didn't get ransacked en masse. There was no real like, going out on the streets, rubbish strewn everywhere kind of nightmare scenario.
No,
like
there was no kind of riot and looting.
Yeah.
Things were a bit more calm. But
yeah.
But it's not far off at all.
So thanks so much for tuning in. That's our first Boy Party movie of 2025. We hope
definitely not setting a bad.
No, exactly. I know
setting bad vibes.
This is the first film we both watched in 2025. I'm worried now we're gonna look at the end of the year and go, oh, we were jinxing it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We can follow the show Boy Party Pod on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram, and you can visit boypartypod.com for all the latest episodes. And we'll be back next week with more Boy Party. And get home safe and do not get sick. And if you do, stay in your
Remember,
room.
everybody, mask up.
Yeah, mask up and keep 2 meters apart.
2 meters social distance.
Goodbye.